Welcome. And thank you for being here, for showing up for you. And I know what it takes to be here, the courage to show up for yourself. And I appreciate you, especially when the holiday season can bring up a multitude of emotions, of feelings, of the yearning, of the missing, of the ache that we have. And at times we may just feel that, can December be over? Can we just skip to January? I wish we could. Because the holidays also brings up some guilt, the guilt of perfectionism. And I have no idea what it is about seeing all the decorations in the stores, the movies. And not only do we know who's missing, but we're putting in or adding to it the stress of wanting and showing up and pretending that we're okay when we are not. And if you're here in person, thank you so much for attending live or listening to the recording. You're carrying the kind of ache that doesn't go away just because the calendar says it's a time to be joyful. I believe healing is not forgetting. And the time that we're going to spend in this hour isn't about fixing you. And that's what I really want to get across, is that you're okay exactly how you are and where you're at. We, again, put so much pressure on us that we have a challenging time navigating the season because we are so worried of the expectations that may be placed on us, of making others uncomfortable. And this isn't about saying, how do we move on? How do I pretend that I'm not missing someone? How do I pretend that I'm not sad or angry or whatever emotion that you're feeling? This hour is about you and the exhale of releasing and letting go of the shoulds, of the woulds, of the could-haves. And if you're tired of pretending that everything's okay and feeling that your grief is too much, you are in the right place. My pillars of grief, or my pillars of care, grew out of my own experience. And I'll be sharing it with you, not as a way to say a solution. It's a way to lighten your burden, to feel within your grief that there's this, as we say again, I'm going to use exhale quite a bit. And exhale is that release that says it's okay to let go. And CARE is an acronym that can be used all year round. And there's also a gift that I will be giving, which is called Grief, the Survival Guide, using CARE. And because CARE is the acronym, again, it's like self-care. It's caring for yourself. And that's what I want to leave you with. So again, welcome. And what I'd like to do is to do a grounding before we start. And also to remind you that grief is a huge umbrella, as is loss. And it could be the loss of a person, the death of a person, which is what I specialize in. That is my lane. It is also the loss of a dream, a loss of identity or worth, thinking that you should be farther along than where you are, or even the loss of a relationship, a divorce, friends that have drifted away. So loss is many things, as is grief. And grief is personal. It's unique, just like your fingerprint. There's no one size fits all. So I'd like you all to take a deep breath. Count of 4, 2, 3, 4, release. You can tell that I just am with my breathing. So let's start over again. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And just sit and relax. And you can do this simple breathing exercise or practice anytime that sometimes the stress, the overwhelm, the nervousness, anxiety comes on. Go to the washroom, your safe spot, or a quiet spot in the room. And you can actually do this anywhere, even when you're walking at the store or you're in a public area, because no one's going to know that you're breathing, holding, exhaling. Because our bodies keep a lot of our pain within it, and it needs to be released. And it really is about just saying, how do we release what we are holding on? And I know I say and a lot, so just in case you get to know it, that is my aspect of and so. So if you notice it, now that I've mentioned it, you're going to notice it even more. And in our grounding, keep in mind who it is that you're missing or what you are missing. Because again, it's about yourself. This is what we're going to be talking about. This is when we're talking about navigating love and loss over the holidays. It's what are you doing for you is what we're doing. And you get to be exactly where you are and who you are at this moment. I'm Maria Balanek. I'm a bereaved mom and certified grief educator by the world-renowned trauma and grief expert, David Kessler. And my story is, again, with the experience of loss. When my son died, I hated Christmas. I didn't want any holidays. Who the heck wants to think about decorating a tree and celebrating? No one did. And that first year for me was a blur. The second year went away with my son, with other family members. However, we had to get back for Christmas because my mom wanted us all together. And again, I hated it. I probably looked distant, like had a miserable on my, like my natural features were like, oh, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And I'm sure that showed. And that's okay. At the time, I really didn't know how else to be. I didn't know anything different. And sometimes we have to be who we are in the moment, because that's who we are. And if other people don't understand, that is on them, not on you. And that is where I've learned to sort of say, you know what? I can change my Christmas traditions, my holiday traditions. They don't have to be the same. I actually cancel Christmas. If I want to decorate, I do. And if I don't, I don't. Either one is right, and it's okay. Because again, there is no one size fits all that tells you how you're supposed to do the holidays. And that definitely then sets the stage for yourself to do what is it that you want to do over the holidays. Because it's not really about what anyone else wants and about people pleasing. We want to definitely sort of say, as I mentioned before, the pillars of care, when we're looking at care, C-A-R-E, it is about caring for yourself and your needs. And that means giving permission and to say, I believe I can do grief at my own pace. I don't need to follow anyone else's. So let's face what the pressures of the holidays have on us, right? It's exhausting to pretend that you're okay, or feeling guilty for wanting to celebrate, or feeling guilty that you don't want to celebrate. It's like that two-sided coin at times, where maybe we're showing up for someone else, for the other people that are in our lives, rather than showing up for your own self. And that's something that maybe we want to go back to a place of who we thought we were beforehand, before we experienced this loss. And there is no going back anymore. You can go back to maybe some of the traditions, but you yourself are not the same person anymore after a loss. And as I mentioned, loss can be the death of a person, the loss of a relationship, the loss of identity, the loss of a job. Anything that rocks your world is a loss. And the Christmas movies out there, yeah, they sometimes do a number on us. A number in the sense of thinking that everyone else has a perfect life. I remember my mentor sharing a story saying that he ended up getting a Christmas card of a family that he knew. And he was just looking at it, going, wow, they look so perfect. Like, look at the perfect family. And he was kind of like jealous, envious. Like, let's face it, when we have a picture and we see perfection, we're like, why am I not having that? Why is my life not like that? What the crap did I get? And that's only natural to feel that and to even think it. What we don't see is the woman actually said, she goes, you didn't see how long it took us to get that photo. The fights that we had, the people that were going all over the place, the expressions on their faces, nobody wanted to be in the photo, everybody wanted to ditch it. She goes, and I had to argue with them to be there, to get that perfect photo, so that way I could send it out. And isn't that what we see? We see the perfectionist of it. We see social media and we're like, dang, that family looks so good. When in reality, they're having their own challenges, like the rest of us. And so how do we move with in navigating the holidays for ourselves? And that's where the care comes in, which is a compassion. So C is compassion for self. And this is an invitation to consider. Consider giving yourself the permission to choose. Choose. Do I want to celebrate? Do I not want to celebrate? Either choice is the right choice for you. Because let's face it, Christmas is the same day every year. And if you want to miss it this year, it'll come again next year. And it's the same thing with any holiday, whether it's Hanukkah, Ramadan, they will always come back again, and it's the same time. This is about caring for you and who you are. And so choose what you want to do. Maybe it's staying home by yourself, curling up with a book, or watching a whole array of Netflix movies and eating pizza. That is okay. It's also okay to say, I want to celebrate. I want to be surrounded by people and go out. That is okay too. What I do want you to consider is having a plan A and a plan B. Say you get an invite and you decide to go to the party. You can go in and go, you know what? Hi, I'm here. I'm only going to be staying for 10 minutes. And choose. You know what? At 10 minutes, I can't stand being around people anymore. I want to go off and be by myself and leave. And that's okay. Or maybe you've just chosen like, wow, I love being around these people. I love the laughing and the community that I'm getting right now and the support. And that's okay. Stay if you want. And that's really what a plan A and a plan B is. You can also say with a plan A, you know what? I don't want to be around people. And then maybe you're home by yourself and you decide, you know what? I got an invite. I think I'll go out and head out. That is what a plan A and a plan B is. It takes the expectation out of you rather than being somewhere where you don't want to be. And at times, even taking a 5-minute break to say, I'm going to the bathroom, if that's what you need to get yourself grounded and do some breathing exercises that we had done earlier. And then we move into the A, which is acknowledging. How many times are we feeling sad or angry and we don't want to voice it? We just kind of keep it in. So that is what acknowledging is. It's acknowledging your feelings without judgment. It's to say, you know what, today I'm missing my special person. And it's okay to say their names. It's okay to honor them in a way that feels comfortable for you. Maybe it's lighting a candle. Maybe it's taking a walk in nature and saying, I miss the person I'm missing, and I wish you were here walking beside me. And if you want to walk and cry, hey, those tears are for you and honoring your person. And that is what acknowledging is. Because a lot of times what we want to do is we are appeasing other people. Have you ever tried to be something that you're not for someone else? And then you're there and it's not only are you angry and sad for who you're missing or what you're missing, but then there's that added anger at them, at the person that you're with at the moment or your friends, and even at yourself for putting yourself in that position. And so when we say put yourself first, it's taking care of yourself first. That's why compassion and acknowledgement are so important. And yes, I do have a landline. I'm one of these old people that still has a landline. We never gave it up. And so that is something that I acknowledge that it rings sometimes when I don't want it to. And moving on to R. R is releasing. And in some ways, it's saying put yourself first. Like release yourself from the pressure that you're putting onto yourself. It's letting go of the expectations. It's letting go of that we think our life should be a Hallmark movie. I almost had a slip there. And you kind of know what I think of a Hallmark movie. It starts with the H and ends with the L, but there's a middle letter inside because it's not reality. And a lot of times, I know I used to watch them, and sometimes I do, but now it's like with a grain of salt. But beforehand, when my life felt crappy, I don't know why I'd watch them. It made me feel even more crappier. And I don't know if I wanted like the feel good movie, but it just didn't. And at times, what I found that made me feel better was the crime movies or even the comedies. Sometimes I could do comedy, but when I was too sad, comedy just didn't lighten up. I almost wanted to watch movies where they were miserable just the way I was. And it gave me comfort. And that's what we're saying when we're saying about release. Release what is not serving you anymore. And thinking that everything needs to be perfect. And that includes the traditions that we have over the holidays. Who said you had to celebrate Christmas on December 25th? Or who said you had to celebrate Thanksgiving? I mean, in Canada, we celebrate it in October. So we're fortunate that it doesn't get that, and it's not something that's a hugely overproduced holiday. And for some people, it may be. You can change the date. You could do it a week earlier. You can do it a week later. You can do it in an afternoon if that's what you want, or skip it. And a lot of times we feel that these traditions are set in stone. And when we release the idea that we need to have traditions, we can keep certain aspects that we like and do a new twist to it. Personally, I know someone who, what she does is she takes food and goes out on that day and has conversations with people on the street. Her brother passed away from suicide, but he also lived on the streets. And so for her, that is a way to honor his life, his way of being, and without judgment. And she found that when we had conversations on the street, you actually find out someone else's lives and how did they get there. My motto has always been, but for the grace of God, that could be me. None of us know what our breaking points are. And it's very easy to lose hope when we've experienced trauma, when we've experienced loss, and we're in grief. So this is no judgment on anyone of where you are in your life, because it could be any of us. Other people have chosen traditions in regards of putting that extra plate out and putting the photo of their loved one. So it's whatever works for you. And there are many different ways of celebrating. And when we go into the E, which is the embrace, the embracing is trusting yourself, trusting who you are at this moment. We may not know what we need at the time. And I ask you to consider to listen to your heart whispers. You can call it intuition, you can call it your gut. It's saying, I'm accepting myself for who I am right now, for putting myself first, which is not selfish. It is actually self-care when you look at and take care of yourself first. And this is where, again, where I say when we embrace, that is embracing our inhale and our exhale. Because when we exhale, it gives us the freedom to choose ourselves. It gives us the freedom to not hold on to what we're holding on to, but to say it's okay of where I am right at this moment. And there's nothing wrong with being sad, with being vulnerable, with sharing what we want to share. And that's what I want to give everyone, is to say, be who you are. Surround yourself with people who get you, who offer support, who sort of say, you know what, I care for you and I want to be around you. Because one of the aspects when we're dealing with the holidays, it's also other people's language. Of being asked of if they see you smiling or laughing. Oh, you're so much better now. I'm so glad to see that you got over it. You haven't gotten over it. You are allowed moments of joy, moments of laughter, moments of wanting fun in your life. Grief, I always say, is part of who we are now. It walks with us. It doesn't define who you are. Because you can carry love and loss in the same breath. It's carrying sadness and joy together. You can have one moment where it could be sad, and then the next moment you're laughing. Both are acceptable. Tears are acceptable. And that's where you want to surround yourself during the holidays, during this time, with people who are going to say, it's okay, show up the way you are. I accept you in all your emotions that you are. Because let's face it, even on a good day without experiencing loss, we have a myriad of emotions anyways. And the sad part is when we have experienced loss, when we are grieving, there's that added expectation that people are giving us a time limit. And that is really unfair because there is no time limit on emotions. And emotions are fleeting. They come and go at all the times. And I want to leave you with that. If in any time that you felt a relief, a lightness that touched your soul, that you had the space to exhale, this is the work that I do. I believe grief needs a place to land, a place to show up with all the messy parts, and to share about stories of your person, stories of you, and what you're feeling. And also to have support that gives you that frequency to be you. Because we change and shift on a daily basis. And I'm here for that. And so I want to thank you so much for your presence. The recording part will stop, and then I will take questions. Just so that way, I prefer to have people's questions, because if they want to be vulnerable in a private area where it's a space given to them, So I thank you so much if you're listening to the recording, and live you get the opportunity to ask Q&As.